Let's talk about overtraining. All right, guys, check it out. So we're gonna go over my go-to objective indicator to find out if you're actually overtrained. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk about overtraining. Now, people have this somewhat misunderstood, and they think that overtraining is just a stressed out state. Now, it takes you a long time to actually get overtrained, and I'll go over the stages of fatigue in a minute. But what overtraining, or what people perceive overtraining is a heightened cortisol state. Now, your cortisol is your stress hormone, by the way, and it's made in the adrenal glands. And when you are chronically elevated, it can cause or may cause what we call overtraining. So the stages that you have there with that elevation of cortisol is going to be one, acute fatigue, right? So the acute fatigue is your short-term response to a training stimulus. When you go in the gym and you're breaking down muscle, there's going to be a stress response. When your body adapts to that stress response, you get stronger, you get more conditioned, so on and so forth, right? The second one is going to be your functional overreaching. Now, that's a planned increase in intensities to get a stimulus adaptation. So this is something that is planned down the line as you progress going forward so that you can gain strength, gain endurance, so on and so forth. The next one is going to be your non-functional overreaching. Now, that's going to be continuous excessive stress outputs, right? That could be also, again, stress is systemic, so it can also be emotional stress. It could be stress from outside of the gym, and then you tack on all of the training that you're doing, and that will accumulate into this non-functional overreaching stage, right? Now, the last stage, and this takes a long time to do that if you're not adequately recovering from your training, is your overtraining. Now, that's your syndrome that where it is prolonged and it's excessive, and you're not giving your body the adequate time to rest in between training sessions, or you're not programming it and periodizing your training to allow yourself to recover. All right, so another thing that you can look at is your basic biofeedback. It's a subjective indicator that you can utilize to figure out if you're in a stressed out state. Now, first one you're gonna look at is sleep quality, right? Your digestion. Are you able to digest food efficiently? Another thing is going to be your energy and your overall focus. Are you brain fogged? Are you able to articulate your words properly? If not, then yes, you may need to back it down and deload so that you don't get into that last stage of fatigue, which is overtraining. All right, and then the last one is going to be hunger, whether you have a loss of appetite or you're just hungry all the time, right? An increase in ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone. If that's increased, that's also an indication. So we want to see where you're at with that. Again, digestion, sleep quality, brain fog, all of that will be a good biofeedback mechanism or subjective indicator that you can use without tech to see how stressed out you are and how fatigued your body is. All right, so now I'm gonna go over two objective indicators that you can use to measure out fatigue. Now, this is primarily to be a preventative so that you don't overtrain. And you wanna constantly test yourself when you're feeling these objective indicators, when you're feeling, sleep deprived or you're feeling brain fog. Go ahead and do these two things so that you don't overtrain down the line, all right? I've trained well over 200 professional fighters in the past 15 years. And the one thing that we utilize are these two things and all other objective indicators, such as tech devices like HRV monitoring or VBT monitoring. Are they highly fatigued? Are they in a state of overtraining or overreaching, so that we can back it off and keep them flowing and keep them going forward throughout the year? Now, the two objective indicators that we use, anybody can use at any point in time. The one is going to be a dead hang on a chin-up bar. Now, all you're going to do is before you actually start, you want to get a baseline number. So you want to feel good when you do this, obviously, so that you have that number set. Now, you're going to dead hang on the bar. You're just going to jump up there, grab the bar, hold as tight as you can, and hold that for as long as you can. Then from there, you'll take that baseline number. Let's just say it was 60 seconds, right? Now, once you come into the gym, if you feel like you may be somewhat stressed out, maybe non-functionally overreached, use the biofeedback that you gathered and then use the objective indicators to make sure that everything is working properly. If not, then you have to bring down the training. If you're down 10 to 15% from your actual baseline number, then you want to deload that day. That means you want to take a break or bring down the volume of that training session so that you do not go into overtraining. Number 2 is going to be cold water immersion up to the wrist. All right, so all you're going to do is take a cold bucket or even a cold plunge, roughly around 35 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to make it cold enough to where you get that stimulus. Dip your hand and your wrist into the water. You're going to make sure that you have your baseline heart rate, so your resting heart rate. You're going to dip your hand in there for as long as 60 to up to 90 seconds. Within that 60 to 90 seconds, if your heart rate jumps 10 to 15 beats from that baseline of your resting heart rate, that's another indication that you may be stressed out or somewhat overreached, right? So we want to make sure once that's done, we take you out of there. You either deload that week, right, or you just take a rest day and retest it again the next day. All right, guys, so there you have it, 2 objective indicators based off of our biofeedback to make sure that you do not overtrain in your training so that you can keep on making gains and keep on progressing. If you guys like this video, let me know, hit the like button, hit the comments down below if you want to see more like this. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.